Hi, I'm Annelotte Coster and I'm a musician and composer. Director, I worked with Florence Bouvy, and she made a really interesting short, and we clicked on the phone, we were talking, exchanging ideas, and then I was not even at the studio. I was like in a holiday cottage, but I wanted to start because they were already editing, and I was like, oh, I need to get some music. So on my small laptop, not the studio one, I recorded some stuff with vocals and time stretched it and made like an ambient kind of loop. And I just sent it to her to show this is something that we can maybe do. And then she put it in the movie with the editor, and she called me and she's like, this is it. I want to keep this cue like this. And I know I was worried, like, does it sound good enough? Is it even better? Yeah, is it I want to use my fancy microphone, you know? But she was like, no, this is perfect for this cue. So it was really interesting for me because I did another cue with the fancy mics. No. And actually I went to the pre-premiere 2 weeks ago. I didn't see the film for a long time because it still needs to get out there. And then I didn't hear the difference. But when I was in the process, I was like, oh, is this credible? Will people laugh, you know? But then when I could take some distance, it was all. And it's really, I think I told her it's really brave of her that she was able to make that decision and just say, no, this is it. Yeah. And that's I think what makes a good director as well.
Yeah, that good feeling thing.
Exactly, yeah, and just trusting it. And of course, for all the other directors, I want to change a lot of things, and this is a rare occasion, but it was really like, whoa, you know what you want, and that's cool. So I worked with Max on his movie Als je later groot bent. Mm-hmm. So I already knew him and we had a good click. So that was again the start when he called me and asked me if I wanted to write music for another movie. And actually Max is an amazing director because he's really open to ideas. And we got into talking and then we were discussing, maybe it would be nice to sample the meters his mother uses to see if there's like electricity going on in the house, because that's what the film is about. She's into the AHS, it's called in Dutch, electro hypersensitivity. Mm-hmm. So she felt like this had like a huge impact on her health, and the movie is about Max dealing with this situation because he thinks it's because of something else. And then we were thinking, okay, he wanted ambient music, and it was something totally different than we did last time, because then we wrote for string quartet and piano. So that's also fun because same director, same composer, something totally different.
Yes.
And then he was like, yes, go for it. And then the editor, Wies Huntling, I also worked with her before on this other movie. So she was like, oh yeah, I will send you the wave files of the straling. And then I put them into the computer and started to make an instrument out of them, because you can like put it into a sampler and say, okay, this key is this note. And then we just started playing around. And then I wrote a first version. It was not matching, and then we were thinking, maybe there should be an instrument as well, because that's the human part, and the sampling is standing in between them. So we actually created that idea together with the three of us, with Edit as well.
And this is a movie about emotions and a lot of things.
Yeah.
How did you choose to portray these emotions in music? How did it feed you? Your creativity?
Let me think about that. So it was always really clear that there would be parts in this documentary where we would just show image, and that was where the music should be. And then there was a lot of dialogue. So I think the function of the music was to extend the dialogue and turn it into this ambient creature. So when I think about it, I think it's the music actually is the voice of Max and the voice of his mother coming together. And it's really in this clinical way of the sampling and the saxophone. But yeah, I don't know if that really answers the question.
In that case, is Max the saxophone and his mother, you put it like characters, or did you mix it together?
When I'm talking out loud about it, I think that the saxophone stands for their connection. Maybe that's it. And the sampler is more of their disconnection, because the sampler is in between their bond, and the saxophone we chose because it's like a instrument like a human voice, because the bond is still there. It just got disrupted a bit by this meter. So we do have conversations about the music like that in like a philosophical way. And that's what I really like, because then you can really get into a concept. And
Can you show us a bit?
Yes. With Max's documentary, we also recorded saxophone, but not the normal saxophone, but all the noises that the saxophone could also make, because it stands for the disrupted connection between Max and his mother. So Ben van Gelder played it, and that sounds like this, for example. A lot of overblowing stuff.
What gave you that idea to?
Yeah, that was when you talk about it with Max, it's like, okay, what kind of interesting stuff can we do? I know this saxophone player can make really interesting noises, and that's actually perfect for what's happening. So in the first scene of the movie, I told Ben, the player, the saxophone shouldn't reach its normal sound, because at the beginning, no spoilers, but at the beginning, the problem is the biggest. And at the end of the movie, there is a tiny bit of like normal saxophone playing, and that's because they found a way to connect again. So yeah, that's interesting to think about how to keep it fun, you know? Yeah.
Can you also explain a bit about the radiation process? How did you put it in, and how did you work with it as well?
So let me look. I think it's in synth lead. I call it a synth. So this is the sound. You hear it? And then I just got a big wave recording from Wies, the editor, and I put it into a sampler. And then you can say, okay, this note is a C and this note is a E. So actually I could start recording tiny melodies with it. So this was a melody we wrote, but the sample, the sampler played.
These are all sampled exactly. radiation.
And the saxophone played it as well, but with this sound where he couldn't play but only blow through the... So they play together actually. So it's the same melody. They both play it, and together that's the sound of the... So we were just looking for this, these textures.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, there's more to watch.